Nate, right, the floor is yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, May, for having me here. And thanks for joining, whether you're watching the video later on. And yeah, anyway, let's just kind of jump into it. I'm going to share my screen now. And yep, the audio's on here. And I'm just going to show some slides and a few things a little bit. I'm going to bounce in and out because this is going to be a kind of a demonstration lesson so you can see, or session, so you can see what Adobe Spark does. So this is Adobe Spark. Every teacher, every student can create. And what I love about Spark is the simplicity of it. Even children in, like middle elementary grades can use this tool. And it's free, by the way. There are features if you get like a school account or license or you pay for it. But just the general version of Spark that's free is super awesome. So just quickly about myself, my name is Nate Gildart. I teach at Nagoya International School. I'm a history teacher, actually, and I teach a class called Individuals and Societies, kind of like the IB version. I do education technology consulting on the side for like Google and Adobe and just a bunch of other stuff. So I won't get into that. I'll share the slide deck with you a little bit later. I will point out, though, I am what's called an Adobe education leader. There's about 400 of us around the world that have done specialized training in Adobe tools. Part of the reason why I'm doing Adobe right now, I love it. And Spark is probably the easiest thing. I'm not going to read through, the description. You've seen that before. I will point out, you can come back and look at this later too, but we're looking at 3 different elements of Adobe Spark. Spark has 3 elements. One is Post, which is for graphic design. The other is Video for really quick and easy video production. And trust me, it's quick. And then Spark Page for web design. And we'll spend more of our time on Post and Video, but we will show you Page too, because it's really cool. As you design, try to think about things like your audience. Are you representing them well? Think about things like academic honesty and that kind of thing. Adobe Spark Video in particular, it actually cites your work for you unless you add something on your own, but we'll get to that when we talk about those. Let's see. So let's start with Spark Post. This, for example, is a thumbnail that I made in Spark Post for a YouTube video. Post is about graphic design, and they have loads and loads of templates, which we'll look at in a moment. But you can design from scratch on your own too. So this is one I made to fit a video, same color scheme and all that kind of thing. Here are a few other ones. These could obviously be used for, say, Instagram or social media posting, because our kids, students love social media these days, right? So on the left, one was just more informational. Had students create their own meme kind of thing. This is one in history. And no, Marie Antoinette most likely did not say, "Let them eat cake," although that reflects her attitude, or reflected. Another one is just a nice little design for an election campaign we did with my grade 9 students. And you notice the text is circled. Some tools, maybe in PowerPoint, if you're using a PowerPoint slide, you can do that. But even Google Slides doesn't do it. But with Adobe Spark, it's really simple. And you can see on the right side, this is just a poster I put together for, like a certification I was doing, made with a template. So, Post has lots of templates. Here are a couple of other things. You notice I've got a QR code in the one on the left. This was my students creating videos about different kinds of conflict around the world. And we put the videos on YouTube, and then we created the poster in Spark. And we also put the QR code in there so that we could do an awareness campaign around the school by putting posters up. So, scan the code, go to the video kind of thing. But this is also the thumbnail on YouTube. And again, just signage for your classroom or websites or something. The one on the right, something I put together recently. And what you see on the left here is something one of my students made in grade 9. They put an infographic on taking political action because there's a lot of politics in what I teach. Let's see. Yeah, there's one for my Google Classroom banner, right? Study the historian before you study the history. So you can create, graphics with specific dimensions that you want. So that you're looking at was made actually in Spark with the exact dimensions for a Google Classroom banner. So whether it's a website or your YouTube channel or whatever, Spark's great for designing these things, whether it's a poster for your kids, students, or whatever. Think that, yep. So I'm going to jump out of that. And I'm going to jump to Spark Post to kind of show you how it works. You can see this, I hope, right? May, we're on that. Okay, great. So I'm logged into Adobe Spark. And what you're first going to see is all these options here. If you create a slideshow, they actually call their video slideshow. Presentations would be their website. And then you could, create, specially created templates for whether it's Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go right here to where it says view all. In fact, I think what we're going to do, yeah, I'm going to click view all. And so here you can see that you get like all these different choices, right? You might have your students creating a flyer for a fake event or something like that. And so you can scroll and kind of look through. But what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go here at the top tab where it says graphics. And I'm not going to use a template. So that actually means I'm going to go back home. And I'm going to click on my arrow here and slide over a little bit. And I'm going to choose custom size because I like to do my own thing. But again, note you can use templates. But I'm going to do this just, just to kind of show you. So let's say my height and width, this is what I want. I could use that. I think what I'll do is click standard. And let's say I'm creating a poster, right? Let's see, I'm going to go here, wide, tall. Maybe I'll go with wide. That looks more like it would fit when I print on A4. So I've chosen that. I'm going to click next. It does take a little bit of time for these things to load. This is all in the cloud, right? Which is nice. And they have apps for your smartphone as well. So you could actually be doing this stuff on your smartphone apps. But you notice here, they give me different templates I can use. If you want, you could, I don't know, type in, sorry, I don't have to use my libraries. I could search maybe not a social graphic. Well, I'll tell you what, we won't do that. I'll let you explore that on your own because we only have 45 minutes for 3 different tools. Whoops. So I'm going to close that. So what I'm going to do first is maybe insert like an image or something like that. So over here on the side where it says photos, I'm going to click on that and I can upload my own photo. I can find free photos. I'm going to go with the theme of Napoleon right now. I don't know why, but I'm a bit of a Napoleon nut. So let me click and see what I get. Okay, so I do get, there's the coronation of Josephine. Maybe I'll use that. Maybe this is an activity I'm going to do in class. So painting by David. And wait for that to load. And then I'm going to close this when it does. Now, the nice thing about this photo is all the photos in Adobe, whether it's Spark or video or Spark post video or page, they are all copyright free. They work from Unsplash. And so see here, you notice I'm getting my little pink line there so I can get my alignment down. But what I'm going to do is just kind of click over here and I'm going to tap on it. And I get my little thing here where I can drag and pull it across. I'm not going to spend a lot of time playing around for perfection here because of time, but you notice here when I've tapped on my my image, I can come in and I can do some different things, right? Like if I want a background border, I could actually add a background, that kind of thing. Maybe I want to add a few filters to it. So if I turn that on and I want to get like a different kind of aesthetic, then I could do that. I'm going to turn the filter off because as you can see, that doesn't really allow the colors to kind of come out. You can choose enhancements and things like that. So you notice that's just kind of, it popped out a little bit more. Sometimes online when you get images, the images aren't so nice to look at, excuse me. And so if I want, I could, kind of create the warmth or I could sharpen it a little bit. Let's create the warmth a little bit. So yeah, it slightly looks a little bit warmer. You can put the number values in here if you want. Maybe it's got the saturation up a little bit. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. So now what I'm going to do, let's say this is a poster for a class. I'm going to add some text. So I'm not going to choose my rounded one. These little yellow things you see here, that means that it's part of the like a school license or a paid account. But let me choose one that I kind of like this one. This is the one that you saw earlier. So I'm going to tap on that. And again, it takes a little bit of time to load sometimes because it's in the cloud. It does depend on your connection. So I'm going to close this up and get my workspace. There we go. I'm going to tap on that. I'm going to pull it over. And so over here, you see, I've got my my text. So I'm just going to tap on that. I'm going to put David. Let's see, we'll put coronation of Josephine. And let's see, if I want to change my color, I can do that. Let's say I want to make it a bit orangey. I think white actually is going to look a lot better here. So I'm just going to go back to white. You notice you can put in your hex code too. If I wanted this color to look like the color of the curtains, then I could just tap on my my ink, pen thingy and put that in there. But let's look at the effects of the shape here. So on the side here, let me just tap here. Sorry, I had that little pink thing. So if I want to change my shape, it does give me some different options. So maybe I want to, make it square. Maybe I want to here have like these little things like the borders at the top and the bottom. You can do that. I'm going to turn that off though, because I don't like that. I do notice here I'm tapping down below. I can go from each different element if I want to go back to the picture, but I'm going to tap on that and I'm going to go back and get my my white color, or maybe just make it a little bit gray, just to be quick. If I want to put a shadow on, I can do that. So I can just tap on that, and now my color is going to have, or my text is going to have a bit of a shadow. Let's see how that one looks. And so you notice there's just a bit of a shadow there. It'll look a little bit better when I print it. Let's see if I want an outline. Okay, so that outline doesn't look so good, but probably because of the choice of the color there. Okay, so I've done that. So you can see what I mean, right? It's easy to put in text. They've got things like icons and photos. You can put, like, if you want an icon-based infographic, maybe you're doing something on technology. Okay, so I've got my phone. I can put that in. Maybe it's a computer. So I look for that, and okay, now I can choose my computer. Maybe Instagram. Let's see if they have an Instagram logo. Yes, they do. So, maybe you're doing something on social media for your students or whatever. And so you can play around with the different design assets. And when you're finished, all you have to do is up here, click download, and you can choose JPEG, PDF if you want. PDFs tend to print really nicely. For images, I always use a PNG because they are higher resolution. And so, yeah, because of time, I can't really get into that. I will point out that you can share. So if you click share with all of these tools in Adobe, you can publish and make this image public on the web from within Adobe, but you can send it to Google Drive. You can invite people to edit with you. They cannot edit at the same time, unfortunately. It doesn't work like a Google Doc, just because all the elements are more advanced than, say, a Google Slide, right, within the algorithm. But so, yeah, all you have to do is click download, choose what you want, and then you've got your nice image. I use this one actually as propaganda. There's loads of propaganda going on in here. Like, David painted himself in it. He wasn't there. Napoleon's mother, she's painted here. She wasn't even there. Napoleon's sisters seen holding the train. Just for your information, because I think it's interesting. They couldn't stand Josephine and didn't want to be at the wedding. It's just a great image. The Pope didn't even bless it either. But anyhow, so I'm going to close this. If I want, I can change my title up here. I can give it a name, and then it goes into my projects, and I can share it in a library as well. I'm not going to do that for now. So it's automatically saving for me. Wonderful. So let me just go back to the next little bit, Spark Video. I'm not going to project this right now just because, or blow it up. You can come back, and I want to highlight that I've got a few video samples here. I'm going to show you the beginning of just two of them. So this is Adobe Spark Video. In Adobe Spark Video, it creates really quick and easy videos for your students, right? So let me show a couple examples. One I did to get my Adobe certification, actually. Let me take the mute off there. And what I'd like you to notice is that the transitions that come here, the colors that I've used, I've chosen myself, and it didn't take much time at all. I deliberately chose black and white, and I've got video. So have a look.
What is active learning? Active learning is where students discover knowledge for themselves, rather than simply receiving it from the teacher.
Okay, so you notice the transitions, that's all built into the template that I chose for this, right? It was really smooth in the creation, the color schemes. You note that I've got, a picture for the front part, the beginning, which I also used as the thumbnail for YouTube. And the videos here, you can see kids. I like this one too, actually. This little kid in elementary school looking at VR.
It can include many activities in any subject at any age.
So let me show you something one of my grade 9 students did. We were looking at the French Revolution. We were looking at political cartoons. And so they had to take one cartoon and analyze it. It took me about 5 minutes to show students how to use Adobe Spark Video. And this is what this individual came up with.
I want their people to do the same as France, so they tried to make it seem useless to revolt. This cartoon was drawn by James Gilray on December 21st, 1792, which was during the French Revolution. This cartoon uses the juxtaposition between the poor French and the rich English to show that French with tattered clothes and little food compared to the English.
So what I like about this one is that the student has chosen the political cartoon, and they're talking about it. It's not text heavy at all in terms of the the text that he chose to use. It's very simple, and you know, he's talking about the cartoon, and I can tell that he knows what he's talking about because he's giving the narration, the explanation, and the text he's used is very, very simple, and the transitions are smooth. And I'm going to show you why. If you were to look at this whole video, you can see that he goes from one thing to the next thing very seamlessly. And as he recorded his audio, it's not one whole audio piece, it's different pieces. So I'm going to close these up just to keep the tabs from being too crazy here. And so now I'm going to go into what is called Slideshow. So I'm back in my Adobe Spark dashboard. And so I'm going to click on Slideshow. And I'm going to go with Napoleon again, just because, like I said, it's for some reason Napoleon's in my mind. One of my students wants to borrow a book I have on Napoleon. So here you've got templates as well, and you can click through and kind of see, you know, what they have. I tend to not use templates myself because I like to start from scratch, and it really is quite simple. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to click Start from Scratch. And again, just we have to wait for a moment for it to load. Excuse me. And again, now we're looking at what's called Adobe Spark Video. And so let's say I'm creating a short video talking about Napoleon Bonaparte, right? Normally I would have a fancier title, and you know, I'd take a little bit more time. They always have this tips and tricks kind of thing. I don't click don't show me this again, because when I do workshops on Adobe, I want that to pop up. But it gives you a little explanation of how it works, which I'm going to do for you right now. Lots of great stuff online. I do not have a tutorial video on Adobe on my YouTube channel right now, but eventually we'll get there. So here you get Spark Video, and this is what it looks like. And you know, you can choose whether you want a full screen slide, you want to do a split screen, you want captions at the bottom, or if you want it to open with title and text. I'm gonna stick with the full screen feature here. Okay, so now you notice here I've got plus and I've got a plus. All right, so the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to add a photo. Now let's assume that this isn't like a title slide. Normally you would create a title slide kind of thing. In fact, why don't I do that? Now, again, you can upload a photo, you can take a photo, and then you can find free photos, and you could go into ones you've made with other Adobe products if you have them or not. But I'm going to click, because they use Creative Commons and Unsplash and things like that. Napoleon Bonaparte. Whoops, I don't type very well. If anybody has ever seen one of my, look at that, Bonaparte. So then I'm going to scroll down, because I'm a history teacher, so this is always in my head. Let's see, I'm going to click on this one, him going over I think it's the Pyrenees. So that's not really working for me, right? So I'm going to go back to my layout. Notice here at the top, you only have 4 tabs to choose from. So I'm going to split my screen here and see what happens. So I had it on full screen, but now I'm going to choose to split it. You know, okay, so now it's automatically taken that. And I'm going to edit that because it still doesn't look so good. Let me zoom out a bit, see how that's going to look. Okay, so you know what? That's just not working for me. So what I'm going to do is actually go down here and put in another slide. And what I'm going to do here is split my screen. And I'm going to add a photo to the left there, because that other one wasn't working for me. Note that my last search is right there. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to click my my little ellipse there. Looks like a snowman that fell over, and I'm going to delete that. So deleting these slides is pretty quick. And so I'm in here, and now I'm going to add some text, and I'm just going to call, let's see. I'm going to call this the propaganda of Napoleon. And I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. It automatically sizes it for you, and it automatically aligns things in the middle. So see how that went down to the middle for me, which is good. Here I got this little logo thing. I'm not going to have a logo in there. I'm just going to say no. So now I want to think about my theme, right? Do I want the color? It automatically defaults to title, but if you mouse over, you can see what these themes and different things are going to look like. Flare, yeah, let's see which one I'm going to go with. I kind of like that, but I think I'm going to go with Elevate, and we'll see what happens when we do our transitions. See if that kind of messes this up on me. Hopefully not. Okay, now if I play this, I click play. So you can see there's like a little bit of action going on here. Now the music doesn't work for me. So I'm going to click on my music tab. And first that was a little bit too loud. And feel free to put any questions in the chat or that kind of thing. If I want, I can take the music off. You can add your own music if you want. Remember, if you upload to YouTube and it's not copyright free, then your video will get flagged and the audio will be cut out. So you want to think about that. The nice thing about Adobe Spark Video is that they do have a small number of background small number of songs you can use as background music. I'm not going to choose medieval times. Let me go with something a little more dire, not like the horror movie, but there is one that I used before that I like. Where is that? Stroll in the Park? No, we're talking about propaganda here. Let's see. Let's just go with Spirit of the Time, see how that sounds. Okay, and if I click here, I can listen to it. Oops, let me pull that down. Notice how that went up a little bit. Anyway, you can play around and find the song that you like. Yeah, so that's not really appropriate for it, but you can upload your own music. You could go to the YouTube audio library, not YouTube music, but the YouTube audio library. And they have like hundreds and hundreds of copyright-free music songs that you can download. So I'm going to keep that on, and I'm going to go to my next video here, or my next image. So note here it says credits. What's going to happen is at the end, the credits are automatically going to appear. So I don't, excuse me, I don't have to worry about copyright. But I'm on this, I'm going to click plus. And so notice here, it's giving me another image. So I'm going to click photo again. And I'm going to go with Josephine. Did I spell coronation? I spelled coronation with 2 R's last time, didn't I? All right, so here we go. It's from Pixabay, this one, but again, it's copyright free, and that's going to appear in my credits at the end, which is great because teachers, we should be demonstrating academic honesty, right? So we'll let that load. And when that does, what I'm going to do is add some text that says Coronation of Josephine. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click add on text. And again, note you could add icons or that kind of thing. For this text, I think I'm going to put the caption at the bottom. And so that pops up. Okay, now I'm going to put Coronation of Josephine and tap out, see how that looks. Okay, I'm not really keen on that, but I'm going to keep it now just for the sake of it. I'm going to pull that down. I like that better, actually. Let's see. And if I want to put the title at the bottom, I can take this and kind of move it around if I want. Some of them allow you to, some don't. Let me resize it, see what happens. Now the resize is whether you're making a video perhaps for Instagram, the square or the widescreen. I think I'm going to keep it like this. So now what I want to show you, now let's assume this is not the title slide. Maybe I put another slide in, like click there, and I'm going to move this over. And later on, I'm going to add a background and a text and that kind of thing. So in fact, you know what, let me just, let me quickly add, not the coronation. Put Napoleon and see what happens. Just, and the reason I'm doing this now is you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm just going to grab a particularly random image. Don't want to use the same one. Let's go with that. See what happens. Yeah, that's a bust of Napoleon. We'll start with that. And let me quickly add some text to it again once that loads. We're doing okay with time. If you do have any questions or ideas, pop them in the chat. Okay, so let me just add text, and I'm going to call this again The Propaganda of Napoleon. And I'm going to leave it at that. Let's see how it looks once it loads. I like that, actually. It's a nice clean background. And here, maybe I'm just going to say he wasn't riding a horse. And maybe for this one here, I'm going to add, many people here weren't at the wedding, or the coronation, I should say, sorry. Okay, and let's see how that goes. I've got 2 things in there. All right, good. So now this is where the audio comes in, okay? Now, if you play, you still have that background music. Okay, but what I do, now you can get up to about, I'd say about 15 to 30 seconds is best per slide, right? But all you have to do is click and hold and then speak. And earbuds like this with a mic are just fine. Napoleon Bonaparte was a master of propaganda. So let's look at some examples of Napoleon and propaganda. And so now I can listen to that. Napoleon Bonaparte was a master of propaganda. So let's look at some examples. So I'm thinking to myself, the music's a little bit too loud. So I'll go back to my music tab. I'm just going to pull it down a little bit. And I'm going to go to my next thing here, and I'm going to record. This is Napoleon riding over the Alps. This painting is ridiculously famous, but propaganda. He was probably riding a donkey because horses couldn't get over the mountains. Okay, so I'm going real quick here, but let's see how this slide sounds. This is Napoleon riding over the Alps. This painting is ridiculously famous, but propaganda. He was probably riding. Okay, and that sounds good. Maybe the music's still slightly a little bit too loud. Let me pull that down. I'm going to go to my last one. And same thing. Well, Napoleon crowned Josephine Empress of France, but there were a number of people who were not here, such as his mother. She didn't go to the wedding because she was mad at Napoleon from a fight the day before. Okay, now here's the thing. Okay, now I can listen to that, see how it sounds. I know it's probably going to be okay. I'm going to click on my ellipse here because I don't get everything I want to say about this image. So I'm just going to click duplicate. And then I'm going to go to my fourth slide and I'm going to add to it. Napoleon's sisters, for example, you see them with the train of Josephine's dress, but they couldn't stand her. And they apparently did not do that act during the coronation. Okay, and I got one more thing I want to say. So I'm going to duplicate that one as well. And now I'm going to record about the Pope. Now the Pope, he didn't even bless the coronation. He didn't agree. He's painted into the painting and he's got his finger in the air suggesting he's blessing this action of crowning Josephine. He was completely against it. Okay, and so now I'm going to go, let's say I've got like a whole bunch of these. Notice here, it's got work with by. You could add your own credits here. Let's see, I'm just going to put, you know, by Nate Gildart, and then work credit with work by, and then, sorry, that'll tell you Adobe Spark in there. Let's see, any other photos? This is where you can add more credits. And so let's say if you want to preview it, so I'm all done. I've got, notice I got to scroll. We got your little bar at the bottom here. So let's preview it, see how it looks. Napoleon Bonaparte was a master of propaganda. So let's look at some examples of Napoleon and propaganda. This is Napoleon riding over the Alps. This painting is ridiculously famous. Okay, so we don't have to look at the whole thing. I can choose to share it right now by inviting people to also edit. And remember, you can't have two people editing at the same time. Or I can publish it to the web, and it can be published straight from Adobe, where you can just share the link from Adobe if you're not, into creating YouTube channels. And then you can click download. So let me just click download. You notice the second slide here. I've got the little clip clicking in there. That's actually my earbuds, I guess, didn't do so well. Now, I'm not going to download the whole thing. You can see here it's taking a bit of time. You don't want to close your window because that will cancel the download. You can go to other tabs and things like that. But let me just close that. But if you look at the preview, you're going to see how it looks. And it's got like a really nice, transition kind of thing. So let me just close that. So if we don't have any questions, just again, like the elements are quite basic to use. You've got your music. You can size, whether it's for an Instagram or a phone, post, and then you can play with your themes and layout. Not a lot to choose from, which is why you spend less time thinking about the tool, and you spend more, you spend more time thinking about the content and the product that you're creating. And I noticed the chat, how long does it take for your students to finish a poster or a video? Do you have them do it in class or assigned as work? What I tend to do, let me get rid of my chat here, that's kind of popped up here. What I tend to do is have students do it for homework, the production, but I always get them to start in class so I can help them navigate the platform. This one's quite easy, as you can see, so students tend not to have questions about it. But yeah, we build up to the assignment. In fact, I'm working on one now where students next week on Monday, I'll be teaching them, here's Adobe Spark, here's your account through the school. This is what you're going to use for the assignment. Usually I give them choice, they can use DaVinci Resolve or iMovie, WeVideo to make the videos, but part of our criterion in IB is to have students try to learn new platforms. So for me, it's like you are learning to use Adobe. And we have all these licenses now, right? So I want them to use it. But if students can use this and they like video, well, the next step is to teach them, the other video apps. They've got another one called Adobe Premiere Rush, which is like a little bit better version of iMovie. And then they have Premiere Pro, which is what professionals use. So I want them to build up to stuff. They're in grade 9. I'm sure there's a new, Oscar-winning director out there in my school. So let me go to the next one. But sorry, to again answer the question is, we get started in class, but this production stuff they generally do on their own at home, because class is where we consolidate our learning and that kind of thing. So I hope I answered that. The next one is Adobe Spark Page. Notice active learning. This is a Spark page I created. Basically, it is a really basic web page, and my lovely partner Yuka brought me some coffee. So I'll sip that while we're loading. Okay, so I was creating this for something I was doing with Adobe, and this is made with Adobe Page, Spark Page, and you'll notice the transitions, right? I've got a nice banner there. These are my own image. I have permission to use all my student stuff here, by the way, everybody. So you see the text here. Do you notice how it's kind of gliding or sliding a little bit? I've got that video we looked at embedded on YouTube. It doesn't have to be on YouTube. You can just upload a video. And credits, well, I didn't use any stock photos that were, from the Creative Commons license. So I just put, my name in there because these are all my photos and videos. That's one sample. Let's have a look at another one. Let's see. Contemporary conflict. This is an extension I did with that assignment. I had students create those videos with those thumbnails with the QR codes to scan and go to YouTube. I put their videos on my school YouTube channel because of COPPA laws in America. Google obviously is an American company. But here we go. So what we did is in this class project, students, blah, blah, blah. This is a work in progress at the moment, but the conflict in Yemen, right? And so the students got a summary, and then they've chosen a copyright-free image. And now my thumbnail is there because it's my account at school, but here's the video the student made talking about the conflict and their suggested, that student's suggested solutions and connected to sustainable development goals. Here's another one, conflict in Colombia. And here's another one, the abortion debate in America, right? So the students' videos are here, but we've got it all into one nice page that I could tweet out to the parents through our school, Twitter account. So you notice we put the image attribution here because the students chose their own images. If you upload an image from within Adobe Spark Page, at the bottom, you will see those credits automatically generated for you. So the question is, how do you create one of these things? All right, so let's go back to Adobe Spark. I'm gonna get out of this. I'm gonna go back to Spark, the little home button here. Notice here it's got my recent projects as well. So you don't have to surf around. In the libraries, you could actually create your own folders and that kind of thing. We only have like 11 minutes, so I'm not going to do that. But so right now what I want to do is create a presentation, which for Adobe, that's their, it's the page, it's a presentation. So I'm going to click on that and might as well stick with Napoleon just to, come full circle here. And I'll add my subtitle. Master of Propaganda. So now here I've got my plus button, but what I want to do, let me tap around in here. Okay, I want to add an image. So I'm going to go to photo. And again, I could upload my own, but I'm going to choose one. See what we get here. And same idea. I think I like that other dark one. So I'm going to go with that for this. Actually, that bust of Napoleon. Let's see if that comes up. Again, I could probably type bust of Napoleon and it would come up, but there it is. So I saw that. I like that one. See, that's a good looking cover, I think, automatically generated. So now if I want, I can go tap back in here and change the text that I have and that kind of thing. I think maybe what I'll do first at the top is put a little more of an explanation. I'm going to put this one in the middle. So notice I can justify. I can choose a heading like heading 1. Let's see. Napoleon background, or let's make the assumption that I've done some lessons on Napoleon. I put a reminder in there, so I'm not really going to keep going with that. Let me add more text, and so I'm going to put this in the middle as well, and I'm going to put descriptive. Come on now, put some text. Work with me here. I've got slippery fingers. Background details here. Like I said, I can't type. So now what I'm going to do is add something new. So let's say I've got a nice long paragraph explaining things. Maybe I want to put an image in there. this is what I could do is create a photo grid with different images. I could do a split layout. So let me go with the split layout first, kind of like what you saw in the last one. So let's put text here. I'm going to say Napoleon didn't ride a horse over the Alps. In fact, if I wanted to challenge my kids, look at that app. You must be laughing. What do you think he rode? How will you find out? So this is the kind of thing I'd have students see. I'd challenge them to find the truth, right? So I'll put that one in there. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Let me go to the bottom here, and I'm going to add something new. This time I'm going to do a glide show that so you can see. Let's go with Napoleon. Let's find that coronation image again. So I'm going to add an image. Let that load. And normally I would stick with just, okay, I've got my save thing here. I'm not going to go with that yet. I'm going to not replace it. Let's just save that. And you notice I've got that background now, right? So when we scroll, we're going to see that as a background. And here I'm going to add maybe image and a text. So I'll put a photo. I'm going to put that same one there. And then I'm going to add maybe some text to it. This painting by David, look at that. I can spell, I just can't type. Is loaded. I wouldn't use that colloquial. Is filled with propaganda. Can you find out what it is? Kind of thing. So what I'm going to do now, okay, let me just go to present, and and a note, you could use this actually as a presentation if you wanted to. And I'll click on present to see how it looks. Again, sometimes it takes time to load. Even if you have strong Wi-Fi, it will take a moment to load. So to me, I like that. It's nice, clean. It's got the bust of Napoleon, and I got it from the Creative Commons. So here, there's a lot of space. I'd go back in and add some text or something like that. And of course, then they would see the background details. This would probably be a bit about Napoleon and then a reminder about what propaganda is. And then, okay, I got the text here. Notice all the transitions are in there for me. It looks really slick, right? Okay, so the credits are automatically in there for me. That's what it looks like. Pretty sweet. Let me go back though and show you a few more things you can do. Let me just find a YouTube video on Napoleon, or in fact, let's do this. So let's go down. Let's say I want a little bit more background on Napoleon. I'm going to click the button. Let me add, I'm actually going to add a button and then add a video to it. If I want, I can click a video. Let's see what that looks like. And then you would add the video link. I'm going to cancel that though, because I'm going to add a button because I think the buttons look pretty good. And I'm going to put it in the middle. And I'm going to say in the text, learn more about Napoleon here. And so now I'm going to go to YouTube and find a video. Notice I can't search in here. So I'm going to, which is probably a good thing because I can go and find the video that I prefer. Let me just kind of move my, move this around a little bit. In fact, let me just go down here. Napoleon History Channel, YouTube. Okay, Emperor of France, 52 minutes. I would never show that long. Let's go with videos here. Whoops, sorry. I'll go to videos. Fingers are playing tricks on me. So normally I would try to find a short video, but for now, let me just copy the link address for that for the sake of the session. And I'm going to put the video there, and I'm going to click save. Let's see if there's anything else I might want to add. Maybe a glide show of images, because we're talking maybe a photo grid. Just to show you how it works, let me just put some of those same images in there. Let's see. And yeah,
5 minutes left.
Yes, thank you very much. Let's see, image photo, don't want to replace it, don't want a large photo. Let's maybe add something else, kind of like that. Let me go up. Normally I would add, like just the proper historical photos kind of thing. Hey, everybody likes cats. I'm sure Napoleon had a cat. Let's get a cat in there. Okay, just to show you how this looks. And I can add a caption down here and that kind of thing. So let's preview and see how it looks. We're going to wind things down in a moment. wait for that to load, like I said. And so as we go down, we've got the text in the background again. Now I got a button that's going to take me to a video, but I could embed the video there if I want. There's my my photos. So again, I could add caption explaining what they are. Just other features that you can look at. So yeah, it's a pretty versatile tool. And like the other Adobe tools, if you want to collaborate with somebody, you click share, you can send it to Drive. You can publish the link and say, everyone, I want you to look at this Spark page, or look at this page, this website I made on Napoleon, or whatever your topic is, and just send them the link and then they can use it. And again, by adding links and things like that, like when I add text, you can link text if you want. So if I add text here, I got da, 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 da. If I want to highlight that, notice here I got a link button, so I could actually link to something else, like a Google form if you want them to use it or whatever. There's a lot you can do, but again, the glory of this is its simplicity, right? It's really simple. You don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to, add bells and whistles and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to go back to a Spark page here. This is automatically saving. Just one more feature in Adobe Spark I'll show you is that once that saves, and then we'll wind things down. While we're doing that, let me look for the questions. Do you only use YouTube to complete their work? How about Google Classroom? I use Google Classroom and Google Sites. Videos that we make, I actually put that stuff on YouTube because I want to share it with the world. Why do I want to do that? Because I want my students to have an authentic audience, right? If they know that somebody else is going to look at this, they do spend more time on it. Okay, this is taking a little bit of time, but I will point out that on the side of the menu bar, you'll see something that says libraries, and you can create folders that students can that you can put your stuff in. So let me stop sharing my screen here because that's taking time. And I know we had one other question. Somebody mentioned they use Premiere Pro, but it's too difficult for students. I agree. Premiere Pro is too difficult for kids in, say, grade 9 or 10 if they're not in a design class. In our art classes, students do learn things like Premiere Pro and Illustrator and Photoshop. But yes, it is. And that's why Spark is so easy. I use Spark for my grade 9 kids. If they choose later on to use WeVideo, DaVinci Resolve, or other things, I allow them the choice. But part of our curriculum is you are going to try to use new platforms. And this is why I kind of force it on them, because I do notice that they go like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. I don't have a lot of time, so I think I'll use Spark for this assignment, right? Instead of iMovie and other things. But I love Premiere Pro, it's great. And yes, it's accessible. That's a great comment. Totally accessible. All this stuff, I put it on Google Classroom and I put it in Sites and things like that. So May, do you have any thoughts or?
Well, I have one question actually. So is it possible to embed a video on top of the Adobe Spark if we wanted to have our face? Like, is it possible?
No, with Spark Video, that's again, problem with the simplicity is you wanted your face kind of like with Loom or Screencastify where you got your face in there. No, so what I would recommend for that is definitely something like Premiere Pro or, like another tool.
Okay.
Even GarageBand. I've got actually a big pop-up green screen I use here. So, but yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
you
you
very much, everybody. Any more questions?
Oh, let me share that slide deck for everybody as well. It's open source. So if you want to see some examples and reminders, this is not how-to, but I am working on how-to videos for Adobe. The problem.
Maybe you can drop your YouTube link in the chat for us.
Sure. Yeah. Let me just. It's actually if you Google Social Studies Samurai, and I've got this linked in that slide deck as well. But let me just click Social Studies Samurai. Let's go to the YouTube channel, and yeah, and there's my YouTube channel. There's some stuff for kids, mostly stuff for teachers, and yeah, I'll be adding stuff to it. So wonderful. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's a great tool. Share it out. Share that slide deck with other people if they want to. It's open. Make a copy. Do your own presentation.
Thank you. I'd like to be in your history class. I think I learned a little bit in this 45 minutes, more than I have ever learned in my entire life. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. I'd ask the students that, they might differ.
Well, thank you, Nate. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording now. You can continue to chat for a few more minutes because the next session is also going to be Nate.
And thank you very much, May, for hosting today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.